Hello there and good afternoon. You're welcome to the Polity, live from the studios of KAFTAN television right here in Abuja, the nation's capital. My name is Macauley Hunohashi, welcoming all our esteemed viewers from around the world for joining us today, this afternoon on the Polity. The Polity is a program that takes a deep dive into unfolding political events within the political firmament in the country and even beyond the shores of Nigeria. So much is happening in the Polity, and we're going to open our telephone lines in the course of the show. But before we do that, let me introduce my guest who will be joining me live in the studio. He has already joined me live in the studio, and he's no other person than our in-house political analyst, as well as the anchor and editor of Abuja File, the program that takes a special focus on unfolding developmental activities of the nation's capital, Abuja. And he is John Okoro. John, yeah, welcome to the Polity.
Thank you very much, Macauley. Thank you out there. It's a pleasure to be right here in the studio.
Thanks for joining me, John. And so much is happening. Let me begin by saying congratulations, Nigeria, for attaining 64 years of nationhood. John, let's start from there. Tomorrow, Nigeria is going to be 64 years old. For a man, if you take the analogy of a human being, an example of a human being, at 64, that human being cannot be said to be a young man. He cannot be said to be a very, very old man. He can be said to be an elderly man. 64 is an elderly man. How would you assess the journeys so far in terms of the entire gamut of, political activities of the country, in the military, security, politics? It is a very, very wide-ranging and open-ended question, so to speak. But give us a rundown of how far we have arrived here, where we are, where we have been, and where we are today, and perhaps where we're headed.
All right, thank you very much once again, Macauley. At 64 years of age, it is assumed that one must have achieved whatever you set out to achieve in life. That's an assumption.
Yeah.
It is not sacrosanct that it must be so, because I also know that at 64, that people still struggle to survive, which is also normal. So, but in most circumstances, reaching 64, that's why even in the civil service or in some places of work, at the age of 60, you are asked to leave, because it's assumed that you are at least giving out your best, especially your youthful best. So as a nation that has achieved this milestone of 64, it is assumed that that country, should have seen the very best of its existence. And at 64, the citizens should be relaxed and be enjoying the fruits inherent in that country. However, is that the case of Nigeria? The answer is no. And again, the best time for a human being to enjoy life should actually be at old age.
Yeah.
It is assumed that you use your youthful years to struggle, to lay the foundations, to train your children, to do all the best things that are expected of you as a human being who is responsible, who is hardworking. So at the time you get to 60, 65, 64, going down, you should be retiring and then relaxing and enjoying the fruits of your labor. However, at this time in Nigeria, what we are experiencing as a nation shows that over the past 60 years and above, that the right things have not been done to put this country on the right path, to put this country on the right pedestal that would entrench national development, that will also entrench or increase the value that the citizens get out of the system. Because the relationship between citizens and nations, could be described to be symbiotic.
Yeah.
You give, you take. you give to the nation gives back to you. But if we have done well as a people, the indices should have been speaking for whatever we have done for ourselves over the last 64 years. But the indices are not speaking well, which means somehow, somewhere, we have not done well. Yes, we have not done well. That's the truth. Based on I'm not saying it because I want to say it. I'm saying it because the indices could and can speak for themselves today.
What are those indices?
Yes, the indices are very, very, very clear. Today, if you look at the population, we are over 200 million, 220, 217, there are different figures being bandied about. I've even heard somebody talking about 270 million. People are even saying,
and you wonder how he came about the figure.
Came about it. So, but whatever, at least to be safe, we are above 200 million.
And we're less than 300 million.
And we're less than 300 million. I don't know whether we are up to 350 million.
What does that tell you about that kind of nation?
Yeah, it's
a nation that doesn't know.
It's part of the problem.
It's like you having a wife and you have a number of children, and you can't. When people ask you how many children do you have, and you can't say the number of children that you have.
Yes.
What does that tell about that kind of human being?
You know, I don't even want to go to all the economic jargons.
Okay.
Because let it not be as if we want to be academical
here.
Yeah, exactly. But let us be direct, straightforward. You know, if you look at the country today, people are practically starving to death because of the cumulative years of negligence, of total abandonment of governance, allowing the people to fend for themselves anyhow, anywhere they can. And the result is what we are seeing today. People are, if you go out there, people are still lining up to buy fuel in the country. You know, if you look at the exchange rate, it's something else. You know, the Naira cannot stand against even some of our local currencies. Before, you know, if you go across the ECOWAS zones, you know, you talk about their CFA, you know, you'll be like wondering if you change the Naira into a CFA, you'll be running into millions and millions and millions of CFA. But now the reverse is the case. The reverse is the case. You know, I'm talking about our own regional counterparts. Then if you now take it across to dollars, to euros, it's nothing. Nothing to write home about today. If somebody gives you, like somebody was telling me, somebody gave me about $10. How much? So when we now try to calculate and told the person that this $10 was hitting around 16,000 or 16,000 naira, the person was amazed. Just $10 hitting about 15,000 or 16,000 naira. You know, so it was like $10 hitting about. So it was like something else. So it means this our currency is going down. Why should it be so? I know that it wasn't like this before. There was a time in this country where the exchange rate, there was a parity between the dollar and the naira. Then what now happened in between that has now brought it to this level where we are today? Then talk about the unemployment in the system. I don't want to go into all the figures being bandied around, unemployment rate and everything, but what I'm talking about, when you go out there practically, you will see hordes of people, Nigerians, who have done what they're supposed to do as human beings. They have been trained educationally and otherwise. Some have actually gone to go and acquire skills, but no job for them. And they're out there roaming the streets, doing nothing. What about insecurity, which is a very huge problem that this country has been battling with over the past 10 years? Then at the time it was insurgency in the Northeast. Then before you know it, it mutated. And then we are now talking about banditry in the Northwest and some parts of the North Central. Then the other parts of the country, we are battling generic problems like kidnapping, all sort of things, ritual killing, all sort of criminal activities going on in the country. And it seems like we are overwhelmed, that the security agencies are overwhelmed. The system, you know. And today, look at the inflation rate. Look at the inflation rate, you know, going on, going high, high. And just the last MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee meeting of the Central Bank of Nigeria, they increased the lending rate again, you know, so something higher than the way it was before. Look at that, look at it. And what does that mean? What it simply means that smaller business, because one of the biggest problems of doing business in our system is lack of access to credit. Now, by the time you keep on increasing the interest rates all the time, a time will come when people will not be able to do anything. People will not be able to have access to credit. And once they don't have access to credit, then all the MSCs, the medium and small enterprises, in fact, the micro and medium and small enterprises, all of them, or the MSMEs, the medium and small, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, all of them will crumble. And you're talking about the fundamentals of the economy crumbling because they don't have access to credit. Because every day, okay, we are saying we are fighting inflation by increasing the lending rate, but we are also not looking at the negative ripple effects of that down the value chain of production, real sector, and everything. And we are 64 years. So you can see that we don't have a good story to tell, even though we began well. Because it's like as we move on, if you look at 25 years ago when we started this journey of the democratic process, things were a little far better compared to, and the more years we embraced, the more things got out of control. In fact, today, I don't know what it's like, because I don't even know how people are surviving in this country. I don't know how people are surviving today in this country based on what you have on ground. Look at the transportation, and you see the issue of fuel. Look at the politics around the pricing of fuel. I know, look at how it has turned everything upside down in this country because of the central nature of energy, of fuel within the economy, whereby any little thing that happens to the price, any little thing, any kind of instability within that sector will also affect every other thing. Look at how it has gone around the whole country today.
You know, John, we celebrate, nationhood every first day of October, every year. It's been a ritual. This year is no different. But this year's on, like, some years past, government said it's going to be low-key, and there are activities lined up to kickstart the celebration, the low-key celebration. There was a Jumat Mosque on Friday. There was interdenominational service across states on Sunday. In Abuja, the nation's capital, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who is the chairman of this year's celebration, did say there is hope in the future. Even though it's going to be, low-key, he said there's hope in the future. Do you share that view?
It's hope that keeps us alive. If we don't have hope as individuals, even as a nation, if I will just cease to live, in fact, there will be no interest again in living again. None. There will be no interest in even trying to live if we don't have hope. So, but hope in itself is subjective. Yeah. It's also relative. Because the people are also dying out of hopelessness, even here in this country today. So the issue of hope, for me, it is just say, okay, there's hope, is rhetorics. It's normal. We understand there's hope. Even when somebody is, having this kind of terminal disease, and if you could see clearly that this individual is dying, you will give the person hope. At least let the person cling to something. So as a nation, our leaders have been telling us to have hope, that things will be okay, But over the years, this hope, is yet to be achieved in terms of the tangibility of those things that citizens could say that because we have tarried, because we have persevered, now we are here, our hopes, have been fulfilled, and here we are enjoying the country. We are enjoying what the country can do for us. But you see, this hope seems to be far-fetched. But whether we have to continue having hope, we have no other choice but to keep on hoping that things will get better, And even personally as an individual, I believe that things will get better. I know that things will get better only when the right set of people, step out, or either through the electoral process or through any other kind of providence, the right sort of people just step up and then take over the mantle of leadership in this country. Then they will redirect our trajectory Because the problem we have as a nation is about leadership.
Okay. At this point, we're going to open our telephone line so that our numerous viewers and our vibrant callers can begin to call in so that they can make the program conversational. The number is right there on your screen. You can see it. Please begin to call in so that you can, bear your thoughts with us. You share your thoughts with us, and you make your opinion available so that the program can be conversational and, rather interactive. John, let me ask you, let me use also the analogy of a sick person, in the hospital, in a sick bed in the hospital. There is a kind of ailment that will, affect you, and you'll be wishing that, why don't you just die? And there is the kind of ailment also that may hit you, and you'll be thanking God that He has kept you alive all this while. What do you see in Nigeria using this analogy?
Well, like I said earlier, I said the way you have some terminal diseases that, have reached what I call the end stage, and the person clings to hope. Definitely people around you will tell you, it's fine. It's great. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Even when all the indices, are actually indicating that this stage is at the end of it.
Okay. Let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon. You're on to the Polity. It's your program.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Please turn down the volume of your TV.
I am Alpha.
Please, could you turn down the volume of your TV set, please? And then tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, I am Alpha calling from Cross River.
Answer from Cross River, please. Go ahead.
This issue of economy, I don't really know where Nigeria is even going now. Because for now, if you ask me to define Nigeria, I may define Nigeria as a country, a company that each politician come and make his money and just go. So this country, we are tired of all this. Everything we keep on talking about this economy is still dying. The more we talk, the more we die. And we don't really understand. Now we are buying fuel at the rate of 2,000. We don't just know. So you people should help us.
Okay.
At least I think you people are close to the government. At least help us and do something.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, answer. As a follow-up to my last question, yes, God has kept us alive. Nigerians are resilient. Everybody has been saying it. Nigerians are resilient. Even I listened to an analyst. It's even a miracle that Nigeria has survived to this time. Do we have a cause to celebrate?
I think we have every cause to celebrate. First of all, that we are alive as individuals, first of all, and that the nation, still, tarries on, soldiers on, and the ability to soldier on isn't because of government, is because the Nigerian spirit is that kind of spirit that has no other option but to persevere.
Okay, let's take this caller. Hello, good afternoon. You're on to the Polity live from KAFTAN Television. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Jua.
Jua. Okay, what's your name?
My name is Ifai. What is man?
Ifai.
Jua. That's my side, though. That's Jua now. Jua is my area.
I don't know what is happening in Nigeria.
That's you're from the same place with John. That's his area. Go ahead.
Yes, I can see him saying that.
Yes, it's my area, Jua. Hi, Jua now.
Jua is okay.
That's
Okay.
great. Go ahead.
Go ahead with your contribution.
In a situation like this, they say we are celebrating Nigeria at 64.
Yes.
But I don't understand what you are celebrating. As you can see what is happening in Nigeria now, everything is turning upside down. But I believe I just leave everything in the hands of God.
Okay.
So the problem, what I see that the problem we are having now is the leaders.
Could you turn down the volume of your TV, please? Help us turn down the volume. And then continue.
The are having now is our leaders.
Okay.
If our leaders should pity us and know what to do, and I believe everybody will enjoy the dividends of Nigeria.
Okay.
That's what I need to say.
Okay, thank you.
Help us.
Thank you,
And
fine.
make sure that we enjoy the dividends of Nigeria.
Okay, thank you, Ifeanyi from Joa. Okay. Good afternoon, you are welcome to the Polity.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Sanjay. You're calling from Ogun State.
Engineer Ayo, you are our regular caller. We appreciate your calling in today.
Oh, I'm always happy watching this KAFTANTV.
Yes.
My eye is always glued on the TV.
We are proud of you. We are very, very proud of you because you are our ardent caller and your perspective is always instructive. Go ahead, please, your contribution.
Much about this Independence Day celebration. Wow, I don't see any reason why we have to celebrate this independence. You know, Nigeria is 64. So if you come for celebration, people will ask you, what are you celebrating? Right? You don't just say, I want to celebrate. They will ask you, what are you celebrating?
Yeah.
Now, Nigeria, now what are we celebrating? Are we celebrating the economic reception? Are we celebrating the hardship? Are we celebrating our leaders mismanaging and abusing our money? And you know, this is 64 years of independence. So it's like we are retrogressing. I'm not saying that we are progressing. Right? Things are just getting bad. When Buhari was there, we are praying that Buhari should just do his own and go. Now Buhari left. Now the new management, the new leaders. Now we are still praising Buhari again. That Buhari was even better. So if I should ask you now, what are we celebrating? So thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. He's asking when are we celebrating. But John, let me take us back to those days that you and I were growing up. And, you know, those days, celebrations of this nature were very, very colorful. It was, you know, atmosphere of frenzy permeated the entire landscape of Nigeria. You welcome, you are eager, you know, to see first day of October every year because, you know, students will line up with their small flags. You know, the governors will come out taking salutes. There will be parade, and there will be aircrafts will be flying with different colors and Nigerian flag, you know, adorning the skies. And these things have been absent, you know, with successive regimes. Is that an indication that they are also aware of what we have always talked about, government failure?
It's the value, you know, the value system, you know, has been seriously eroded over the years, like we just mentioned. You know, when Nigeria was Nigeria, you know, there's no child, you know, a student or a pupil anywhere across the country that would not be expectant. You know, you have this joy because months before then you've been preparing for this day. You know, the march past stops, you know, the drummer boys, everything. Then you converge on the local government secretariat or the local government field. You know, the local government chairman we take the salute. Then schools from across the local government will come there, march past, cultural events, all sort of things. At the end of the day, prizes are awarded to people who emerged first in different competitions, same across the states, at the national level, even here in the FCT in Abuja. Many years, you understand? You see, at the old parade ground in Abuja at that time, schools across the FCT will converge there. You will see the president coming out to take salute, and it was just joyous. People were happy. But over the years, the value began to erode. You know, people now started, you know, becoming very self-conscious. That's what we have been expecting from the nation, you know, have not even showed up. Look at the way things began to turn bad. You know, talk about the economic problem, recession, this, that, all over the place. Things became very difficult. People couldn't get jobs. You understand? You know, the gap between the rich began to widen. You know, if you are in that bracket of being poor, you become poor. You know, you become poorer. You know, all the time. Then you see people who are at the other side becoming richer and richer. You know, so, you know, over the years, Nigerians are basically struggling now. So nobody cares about some of these national values, about celebrations. People are more concerned about surviving on a daily basis. But it is not supposed, and why it is not supposed to be so, but why it is ironical is because Nigeria is a nation that has been blessed with everything. The people are hardworking. The people have the patience. The people always want to persevere. If you woke up 4 a.m. in the morning and you thought that you are the first person to wake up, you go out there on the street, you find out that you even woke up late at 4. You know, people are already out there struggling, surviving. Vehicle taxis are already on the streets, taking passengers from point A to point B around 4 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, I've listened to someone this morning who say, in spite of the challenges we've passed through, you know, against the backdrop of bad leadership and poor governance, the ordinary Nigerian who has remained resilient all these years is the hero. Do you share that view?
Yes, the ordinary Nigerian is a hero because we are at the receiving end of all aspects of bad governance. It's the ordinary Nigerian that lives in a shack of a home that cannot live in a decent place. It's the ordinary Nigerian that will suffer when you have floods, as we have today across the country. It's the ordinary Nigerian that the parents will spend everything they have to send him to school, and the person comes out without a job because he's an ordinary Nigerian. While you will see your counterparts that you guys were in the same school, maybe you even got better grades because this person is connected. The person will now get juicy jobs in very, very important places. And over the years, you are sit down there struggling. The same person because you are an ordinary Nigerian. It is the ordinary Nigerian that suffers today, where we have the issue of hike in pump price of fuel. The people are filling their tanks for 100,000 and above, and they even post the receipts. Why the ordinary person who is at the lower level of employment is even struggling to be paid 70,000 naira as minimum wage, why those who are affluent can actually afford to buy fuel tank to feed their vehicles with over 100,000, which is far, far above the national minimum wage. It's the ordinary Nigerian that will suffer when there is no power, that stays in darkness, in mosquito-infested places. The ordinary Nigerian. It's the ordinary Nigerian that will go out there without any form of public transportation organized by government. But the ordinary Nigerian will go out somewhere, get this money and pay high costs of transportation to go to the place of work. It's the ordinary Nigerian that will depend on generator and suffer, struggle to buy a pass my neighbor. The ordinary Nigerian.
Which is becoming, you know, difficult to even...
You can't even afford it again unless you bought it before. So the ordinary Nigerian, for me, is a hero.
Is a hero.
Because it's the one that has remained resilient, despite being at the receiving end of all the impact of bad governance over these years.
Okay. The ordinary John Okoro agrees that the ordinary Nigerian is the hero because he's the one at the receiving end, you know, in spite of all, despite all the bad governance and poor leadership that has, pervaded this country in the past and which still subsists. He remains the hero, according to John. John agrees with so many Nigerians that are saying the ordinary Nigerian remains the hero of our democratic journey. On this note, we're going to shift gears, but when we return, we'll be talking about the planned protest slated for tomorrow, the 1st of October 2024, which coincides with the celebration of 64 years of independence. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Stay with us. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Polity live from KAFTAN television studios in Abuja, the nation's capital. My name has not changed. It is still Macauley, Hunohashi, your uncle. And with me still in the studio is John Okoro, the uncle Abuja file of KAFTAN television, and as well as our in-house political analyst. We were discussing Nigeria at 64 against challenges and way forward. We're going to shift gears now to the planned protest slated for tomorrow, the 1st of October, 2024. Mr. Okoro, you know, this protest has gained traction on social media, just like the previous one in August, that commenced from 1st to the 10th, 10 days nationwide protest. Is this protest auspicious, even though protest is an inalienable right of every Nigerian, every human being, to talk about the way he's being governed? If he likes it, he's free to say he likes it. If he doesn't like it, he's also free, covered by the Constitution or protected by the Constitution to do so. Is it auspicious at this point in time?
It is. It is auspicious because the 1st of October, celebration itself is also an important one, and the organizers of the protest want to use this very important celebration to also say one or two things and raise their voices against what has been happening, in the country, which is basically bad governance. Because though this time around, the last protest was called End Bad Governance. Yes. But I heard that this one now is Fearless October.
Fearless October first.
Fearless October 1. Yes, having said that, it's a mixed bag, of things here. Because number one, protests, like you said, being an inalienable right of the citizens, whereby that is a legal right, you understand, that you could actually explore to air your views, to speak out against what you believe is an aspect of bad governance in a country like ours. Then number two, do those in power actually feel the impact of protests? Number three, are Nigerians unanimously in support of general protests? So these are some of the questions that I have to raise here. Now, talking about the very first one, which is that the protests are actually our rights as citizens to raise our voices, to speak out against what we don't like as a people. And these protests are legal as far as they are not violent. Once they turn violent, it becomes a very big issue. At that point in time, you might not be able to defend the protest anymore. And you know what it is? There has always been this accusation all the time that anytime the Nigerians want to come out to protest, there are some other people, like some kind of fifth columnist, will send some people across to come and disrupt these protests and turn them into a kind of maybe violent demonstrations that will now give the government the excuse to clamp down on the protest. And at the end of the day, the aim of the protest will be defeated. In fact, nobody will be talking about the aim of the protest anymore. People will be fixated more on the issue of destructions, like in the last End Bad Governance protest. Despite the fact that we know that some bad elements actually entered, infiltrated into this protest and caused a lot of damages across the country. But at the end of the day, nobody was talking about the gains or otherwise of the End Bad Governance protest. People were more concerned now. The narration this time around was that, some hoodlums hijacked the protest, they destroyed things across the country in different states, and now the matter is in court. And today, once we talk about protests, people will tell. In fact, I was coming to the office this morning. I was in a public vehicle, and people were discussing this, and people were like, tomorrow we are going to come out. So people were saying, okay, those that came out during the August protest, where are they now? They're in jail, and they cannot even afford to pay the 1 million bail bond on their head and everything. So on their cases, on their bail condition, they can't even afford it. Ordinary people who are not even eating, where would they not afford to pay 1 million?
1 million.
So the best thing for you is just to stay at home. And again, the last protest again, still very fresh in our minds. What was the response of government? In fact, why the protesters or the organizers of the protests were actually trying to put things on the table, government was actually diverting attention, talking about their own achievements, which are basically on paper. Because it is not government that should be talking about the achievements. It should be about the people.
About the people.
Who will be saying, oh, government has done this. Because these things are practical. We could see them. We could feed them.
Yeah.
You know, everywhere across the country in our homes, on the streets, we could feed them. In the markets, we could feed this government achievement. But the government kept on diverting their attention from the real thing and kept on trying to tell the people, oh, we have done this, we have done that, we have done it. And at the end of the day now, nobody talks about what that protest was all about. It's all about, oh, regime change, oh, this, oh, that. That is where we are. Now, honestly speaking, while I am not discouraging anybody from going out there to protest, but the biggest problem about protests is that Nigerians are always divided about one thing. And that is why, you know, it is believed that the leaders use this tactic of divide and rule. And because they know that as far as the people are divided, that they will never speak under one voice. And because they can't speak under one voice, the government will always have its way. But imagine Nigerians as a whole speaking with just a voice. I don't think that government will not listen. But today, as people are talking about how things are bad, others are going somewhere else and saying, oh, things are not bad, they are good. Others are saying, oh, don't worry, just have hope. As you are dying, you'll be hoping. As you are dying, you'll be dying in hope or hoping to die. And then you say, okay, you see the issue. So we are not speaking, you know, from the same perspective. You know, even amongst groups who come out to claim they are in support of what's going on, as we speak now, maybe as the people are organizing, getting ready for the protest tomorrow, if ever it's going to happen, some other people are also coming out to find whether somebody will come and patronize them so that they can go and start speaking for government and start denouncing the protests, denouncing the organizers, and so on and so forth. So at that point, there will be no achievement because we are not speaking under one voice. But once Nigerians come out peacefully in protest and speak with one voice to say enough is enough, the problem we have as a country is not because we cannot solve our problems. It's not because we don't have the kind of people who will solve our problems. It's simply because nobody cares about our problems. That's the facts. Everything we hear from government, both at the national level, at the state level, is just sophistry. They just want to talk. Just like you hear about the interdenominational service you mentioned earlier, somebody coming to say there's hope. It's just mere talk. After saying there's hope, a lot of people who attended that particular service will go home hungry. But the one who told them that there's hope will drive in his air-conditioned vehicle, go to his air-conditioned homes, and eat the best of lunch and dinner. Why you who went there to listen to the hope will go home hungry? You don't know where in fact, you might even trek home because you might not afford the transportation. You don't know where the next meal is coming from. You don't even know. And the one who told you to have hope will go home and feed fat with his family. Then you, a brighter future. Yes. Then you will now go home and be dying in silence and in hunger. That's the irony of the country. So it is left for us as a people. We have what it takes. We have the destiny of Nigerians, you know. The destiny is actually with us. John, I want you to react to this allegation. I've heard someone say some of the organizers are just mere rebel rousers. An example is, you know, the Eagle Square in Abuja, the nation's capital, is traditionally known to be the venue for Oktoberfest celebration every year, you know, since creation. Now, Showeri, a former presidential candidate, is one of the organizers who say, and I heard him and I saw him, said, the Abuja protest is going to hold at Eagle Square. And it's the same venue traditionally kept for the celebration of Oktoberfest. And it sounds like more than coincidence that the protest is going to hold there. And he has insisted, with or without police presence, they are going to hold the protest at that same venue. And someone said, it's like he's looking for trouble, for more trouble. Well, you know, normally every October 1st, if there will be a kind of a military parade and some national celebrations, you will see the army practicing at the Eagle Square like months or weeks before the D-Day. So I have not actually been, though I was around there sometime last week, around the Eagle Square. and I didn't see any military presence.
They know there may not be parade because it's going to be low-key.
Exactly. So maybe there might not be a parade around the Eagle Square.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, or if that is going to be the case, that there will not be a military parade, I'm sure that the Eagle Square will be open. But I don't, you know that the Eagle Square, even though it is a public space, it's not also easily accessible.
Yeah.
You know, I think it is managed by the FCTA. So
FCTA.
if you have to do anything at the Eagle Square, I think normally you go to them and get the right permit to do so. So if you say, okay, we are going to converge around the Eagle Square area, which is basically at the heart of the 3 arms zone, the 3 arms zone, maybe it is more understandable. But going inside the Eagle Square itself, using it as the center of the rally or whatever, I don't know how possible that will be unless they have gone through the FCTA to get the permit to use the place. And definitely you know that no one is going to give them the permit to use the place. I've also heard that there has been a kind of heavy deployment of police around these venues, some places around the FCT that were like the hot spots during the last protest in August, and same across the whole country.
Yes.
But for me, people who want to protest should be allowed to protest, as far as it is peaceful. If you want to remain on the street, as far as it is peaceful, people should be allowed. That is my take on that. But there's no need to start using the apparatus of state power to, ram it down the throat of Nigerians that the government is doing well. Because that's what you are trying to do. You are trying to ram it down our throat that the government is doing well. People are saying, no, the government is not doing well. You are ramming it down our throat. So when somebody wants to come out and protest, you are saying you shouldn't protest. You are beating the child, you said let the child not cry. So allow the people to be free. Because by the time you start to alienate the people from speaking out, you are also invariably building something else. You don't know, because once you don't know what is happening, like, normally they say, if there's a story that was told about a hawk, this hawk that used to carry chicks,
Hawk, yeah.
Yeah, So when he went to a particular place and took the chick that belongs to the mother hen or something, so when he returned, when the hawk came back home and told the mother or so that they said, what was the reaction of the mother hen when you went there? They said the mother hen didn't say anything. No. The mother hen was silent. So they said, please don't go to that place again. No. Because that kind of silent, you don't know what's going to happen next. So when you now alienate people to go underground, you don't want it to come out and speak out about what is worrying them, and you're alienating them. They will go underground.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're going to be planning. You don't know what's going to happen next. So allow people to speak out. As far as it is not violent, let them speak out what it is. People, a typical Nigerian will come out, speak out, and go home.
But John, what is that singular thing or issue that is making government or the standing as an impediment, for government not implementing those demands or meeting, those demands? Again,
if you look at the last demands, I can't even remember what some of the demands were again. Because there were so many of them. You understand? So some of them, release this person, do that, and this. But I also want to advise the organizers. I know that the organizers, they are speaking for Nigeria because not everyone will be able to come out at the same time and start speaking at the same time. But there are some people who have taken it upon themselves genuinely to speak up for Nigerians. But I think the most important thing now in this country is about the cost of fuel, the high cost of fuel, which has also, trickled around all the facets of the economy. So I think whatever Nigerians should protest about now, it should be about fuel. It should be about the economy.
The economy.
How do we curb this problem? Okay, for most Nigerians and for someone like me, I believe that the shortest way to curb the problem of the economy today is to make sure that there is a considerable reduction in the pump price of fuel. If you do so, you will see that it's going to affect the price of food items in the market. Because people who are bringing their produce, agricultural produce, to the city centers, to population centers, are also coming via transportation, which is now very, very expensive. So by the time you get these things out there in the market, they will also add the cost of their transport over there. They'll add to it. And that's how it has gone around everything. So every kind of protest in this country today should be focused towards the pump price of fuel. Like somebody called and said they are buying fuel now at the rate of 2,000. That is a fact. That's true. So you can imagine another Nigerian, who wants to move from point A to point B, and you have to bear the cost of the increase in transport fares because of it. And there's nothing you can do. And we all have experienced this because we come to work every day. Some people who own cars cannot drive their cars anymore. It's about the economy. Every form of protest should be about the economy. And I expect government, since the time that this issue began, by now, government should have come out with models, workable models, either short-term, mid-term, and long-term. You can start with the short-term plans. The short-term plan is not about palliatives. It's not about palliatives, because once the issue of the cushioning the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy came, we rushed into palliatives. Now, who got these palliatives? How long are we going to be dishing out palliatives? And you look at the billions spent in procuring these palliatives. You can as well use this money for something that will be lasting, something that will be stable in the lives of the people. You could look at, there are so many things you can do for even even stabilizing power supply in this country can trigger an economic development that has never been seen in the history of this country, just by stabilizing power supply alone. By making sure that all the roads in this country are motorable, you can trigger an unprecedented economic development just by fixing the roads alone. So there are many things government can do. By bringing down the pump price of fuel, by allowing all the stakeholders who are interested in investing in the downstream sector to come and build refineries and open up the market. Within a couple of months or even a couple of years, you will see that sector stabilize, and we will say goodbye to all the time government fixing price, government doing this, government doing that. It shouldn't be. But today, look at the problem now. And the price of fuel is not coming down. And it continues to affect everything. Every day you come out, you go to the market today, things get worse because everything is linked to that. So I expect that government should be able to understand, because government has everything. It has the think tank around it. It has the information. So it should be at the forefront of even being ahead of the people in terms of formulating policies that will benefit the people, because that's what government is for. But when government doesn't just do anything, and people are complaining every day, the same story all the time, and it gets worse. So for an average Nigerian like me, I will just conclude that we don't have a government. That what we have are just people who gather together there and then take advantage of the situation. But there's no government. Because if there's government, people should feel it. People should feel it. Because that's okay, now, we are talking about the issue of protest, and government has been doing everything possible to clamp down on people. Why should it be so? In a free system, in a place where we talk about democracy, freedom, people should be allowed to speak out. There are laws guiding everything that we do. So even if you feel that somebody has said something has defamed you, there's a law.
There's a law
to deal with defamation. Whether if it is liable, there's a law. If it's about public disturbance, there's a law. The destruction of public property, there's a law to handle it. But that you won't say because of that you will not be able to allow people to speak out. By the time you start manipulating and controlling information, then it becomes a problem. Because any government that is not confident about itself will always want to control information.
Now, government, one of the demands is the implementation of the minimum wage. Government have started implementing the minimum wage. Actually, they have started paying. But, before then, there was this, decision by government to raise the allowance of youth corps members, National Youth Service Corps members, to 77,000 naira from 33,000 naira. And, many civil servants are saying, I'm here earning 70,000 naira, and my child, who just graduated from school, is going to earn more than me. So, many people are saying...
And the news out there is that it's been implemented.
It's been implemented already. So it was even implemented before it was made public.
It was announced, right?
Before it was announced.
Well, that's it. The system. For a copper who is now earning 77,000 naira, for him, is something great.
It's something great.
For those who are also around him or her, the parents will be a little bit relieved, especially for those who are not coming from the civil service background, who may have left their parents at home somewhere. It's something. Is for me. Is a little bit ironical if you compare it to the minimum wage.
Exactly.
But I've heard somebody who was trying to rationalize this. A person said that the people that the coppers are, if the coppers are employed in the civil service, that they will be around level 8 or thereabouts, which is more than the minimum wage.
Exactly.
You understand? So that was how the person rationalized that, at least as a graduate employee, that you are at least
fresh graduate,
that you have you will be around level 8,
step 3
or thereabouts, and maybe the consequential adjustment, because after the minimum wage has been awarded, all those people who are above the minimum wage ladder will now have what they call the consequential adjustment. Maybe the consequential adjustment for the copper now is 7,000. Maybe from 70,000, which is the minimum wage, then 7,000 is the consequential adjustment. So that would be. So there's nothing we can say about that. For me, it's okay. It's okay. Let the coppers enjoy. It's their country. It's their country. So let them enjoy it too. It's their country.
And the government has just announced the release of CNG buses to Nigerian Labour Congress.
Okay, about some 60 or
60.
thereabout.
Yeah, it's not a part of the demands. And government, even though it is grossly inadequate, because it's not even enough for a state like Jigawa State. I'm not running down Jigawa, but it's one of the.
You see, what all government should do, you don't have to even, when government comes out with a policy, all you need to do is just make that policy a viable one. Allow the policy to flow. People, if you have the supply of CNG readily available, if you have the conversion kits readily available, if you have the expertise readily available, if you have the refilling points readily available, it will take care of itself. People will invest in CNG-related transport system. You don't have to be handling it, because how many buses can the government buy to take care of the transportation need of citizens? How many? So all you need to do is just to make sure that the environment is okay. Get all these points I've just mentioned. Get the expertise in place. Let the supply of the CNG be stable. Let it be there. Let it be available. And let the expertise be there, because I heard that it takes about $1 million for an individual to convert his fuel car, the PMS car, the petrol car, to CNG. It takes almost about $1 million naira. So who will afford it? Can another Nigerian afford it? I had somebody talking about it on TV. The person said, "Oh, are we going there today?" Ask the person how much. He said about 750,000 to convert. You understand? I also know that most of the vehicles that come to Nigeria are actually petrol vehicles and some diesel vehicles. Yeah. So converting from petrol to CNG sometimes it might not really be the best, because they have not told us what could be the after effect at the end of the day. What could be the end? What could be the end game? What will be the final consequence of conversion to the vehicle? Because if you give us the good part of it, we should also know about the other downside of it. You understand? However, that doesn't mean that we have to encourage anybody. But if you have the money, you can go and do. But if I remember that, who amongst us as other Nigerians will be able to afford 750,000 or more to go and convert your fare, your PMS, your petrol vehicle to CNG? You have the gas cylinder behind, strapped around, then you convert them from time to time. Even though you say it is very cheap, with about 15,000 naira, you can fill up your tank and on and on. But the issue is not there. CNG is not. In fact, it's not new. It's not. In fact, it's not a big deal. CNG is not a big deal. It's not an achievement. It's not an achievement. Do you know why I say so? Because all over the world, people have been dealing with alternative to PMS over the years.
Over the years, yeah.
In many countries, over several years ago, I forgot, when you get to the filling stations, you will see different types of fuel. It's left for you to choose the one you want to. Even this, our cassava, they have been converted to fuel. In Brazil, same thing with sugar cane. There are different types of fuel across the world.
Exactly.
So it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal
that you are doing CNG. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
All we need to do is to make it available for people and let it be affordable.
For organizers of tomorrow's protest, it is a big deal. And they have remained resolute that it's going to hold. And our fear or our expectation is that it should not snowball into a conflagration beyond our control, you know, to amount to something huge that could cause something untoward. What should be the expectation of our security agencies?
Well, I think the security agencies, they are trained in crisis management, in crowd control, in protest management. I think that, and what I expect the police to do basically here, when the protests hold, is for you to come out and protect the protesters against hoodlums, against those who might want to attack them, and then look out for the troublemakers. Yes, because that's part of the training. You look out for the troublemakers. So if you identify them, you isolate them, so they will not corrupt the people who have the right mind, who have the genuine intention of this protest. Because at the end of the day now, those who may have untoward intentions will now take over everything. And at the end of the day, nobody is going to be talking about the protest. We're talking about, oh, this person was killed, this number of people were killed. You know, that's what we're talking about. You know, rather, I believe that the police is a professional force. I believe that all our security agencies are all professionally trained, and therefore we should understand civil policing. Because there's still this mentality, you know, this military mentality of just jackboot, let's just hit them. You see, there's a difference between that kind of mentality, the jackboot mentality, or police state mentality, and civil policing. So I think 24, 25 years that we have purged ourselves of militocracy, I think we should start to embrace the civil life, especially in terms of law enforcement. And in the civil policing, the civilian is supreme. Yeah. The civilian is supreme. That's why you see the head of state, the president, who is a civilian, is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, which means the military authorities, the police authorities, they take their orders from a civilian head. And that civilian head, who is the president, a civilian, represents the people, the populace. So it means, by proxy, the president is the C&C on behalf of the people. Not a C&C on behalf of himself, as that individual who occupied that office, but a C&C on behalf of the whole people of the country. And therefore, the military and the civil and the police authority should understand that. Yes. And not use their power of coercion, which should be turned against state actors, or against non-state actors who are bent on disrupting the progress of the democratic process. Then you are using this same instrument against ordinary people just because they are speaking out. So that shouldn't be encouraged.
Okay. John, the Rivers State political crisis has lingered, and it has remained unabated. It is still in the eye of the storm, which doesn't seem to be like a tempest in a teapot. That's going to be our focus. When we come back, please remain with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
In the beginning, God created a beautiful world.
3, 2, 1. Action.
And that's why, at KAFTAN Television,
we imagine a beautiful world.
We are not just bragging.
We blaze the trail in broadcasting. And it is about you.
At KAFTANTV, broadcasting is not just about information, education, and entertainment.
It's an aggregation of all you need to know in Nigeria
and around the world to create signal.
At KAFTAN Television, we have all it takes to be on top in broadcasting.
Our mission is simple: to project Africa in a truthful yet positive manner.
Wait, we're coming to you in style.
Here we are, starting from September.
Look at what the facts are.
And as you say on KAFTANTV, imagine a beautiful world.
You're welcome back. If you are just joining us, you are tuned to the Polity live from KAFTAN Television Studios in Abuja, the nation's capital. My name is Macauley Hunohashi, and we are discussing Nigeria at 64, gains, challenges, and way forward, as well as planned protest lessons and how auspicious is the planned protest for tomorrow. But we are transiting into Rivers political crisis. Before we went on that break, I was telling John that the Rivers State political crisis has lingered and remained unabated, and it doesn't seem to be like a tempest in a teapot. John, do you agree with that?
Yes, he's not abating any time from what we are seeing, and the Rivers State political crisis is always identified by different milestones.
Okay, I like that one.
Different milestones. So when you get to that point, we deal with it at that point. Then they will leave it at that point and then move on again, and they will get to the next milestone again. So I think the initial milestone was the State Assembly. The fight was within the Assembly. The State Assembly. Those who were pro-Wike and pro Fubara, Assembly members. And at the end of the day, you could see how it all fractionalized. At the end, some few members, with the Speaker, aligned with the governor and are there, while the other 27 members are also out there battling it out, all sort of issues. But as we speak now, nobody even knows where that particular matter is at the moment, but it's still there. Tomorrow, you hear that the 27 members have issued this order. You hear about there's another counter order, this motive. You hear that motion here and there that they have this faction, has approved, the nomination of commissioners, they have passed this law. This one will say, okay, no, this one gave an order that the governor should not spend this money, all over the place. So after that, it's still there. That one is still there. The State Assembly crisis is still lingering. It hasn't been solved. So that milestone is still there hanging. Then they move to the local government system, with the issue of the Supreme Court order on the autonomy of the local government system, and then they setting up a caretaker committee and sacking. At the time when the tenure of the local government chairman came to an end, they went to a court and obtained an order, or I think the State Assembly, passed a law, that's intended to increase, elongate, the tenure of the local government.
Exactly.
So that it didn't speak well with the governor, Fubara. He now moved them out and set up caretaker committee members. That particular thing was under milestone. Now there's another milestone again, which is still within the local government system, which is the local government election coming on the 5th. And now that battling is out there with it. So currently now, we heard that
that's the latest.
The latest milestone now where they are now. You see within the local government system, but in another form, where the APC, a faction of the APC, I think the Okoro faction of the APC, has actually said they will not participate in the election. Why the Beke-led faction of the APC said that they will participate in the election, and also the PDP, which is supposed to be the governor's party, as also said that they are also pulling out of the election.
Exactly.
And then the local government chairman, or those who have picked forms, who have given out their intention, announced their intention to run as chairman, and many of them are actually the governor's allies, that have also dumped the PDP and they have moved to what they call the APP. As it is now. And then you also have the issues of the court orders now, because there's a River State court order, a River State court order, a state high court order that actually asks the River State Independent State Electoral Commission to use the 2023 voter register to vote, to serve as the voter register for the local government election coming October 5. But we have also heard this morning there's another order of court again from an Abuja-based Federal High Court that has restricted INEC, or that has restrained INEC from releasing the voter register to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. And invariably, what that means is that if INEC does not release the voter register to the Rivers State Electoral Commission, how will you not conduct the election?
You can't conduct election.
So that is where we are at the moment now. So I think, but if you go down there in Rivers State, the campaigns are going on. All sort of people are saying all sort of things. The two contending factions are still speaking, strongly, supporting their factions and everything, and threatening and so on and so forth. But
I like the background that you just enumerated. You gave us a brief background of it. No matter how one rigma rolls, one will still navigate his way back to the issue of control of structure. And this battle is between two people. The erstwhile governor, that's Wike, and his protege, that's Governor Fubara. So one will, you agree with me that one will always come back to the issue of control of structure.
It's the control. The main thing, about the River State crisis, political crisis, is about the control of structure. Recently, the PDP had its state congresses across the board, and the Wike faction actually took over the control of the state structure. In fact, his people who are loyal to Wike took over all the position for the state chairman, to the treasurer, publicity secretary, and so on and so forth. Upon which the Nigerian Governors Forum actually said, or the PDP Governors Forum rather,
in Taraba, where they had a meeting.
Okay. Yeah, or thereby, they spoke that the best practice would have been to allow the governor of the state to be the one who controls the structure of the party in the state, and that they will support that. I know what that meant. That also got the minister of the FCT talking, where he said that he will put fire, in any states, that supports that particular notion. And the governors came out again and said, no, that will support this notion. So, and like we talked about the APP, that the governors, controlling the local government structure is very, very important. That's why the governor is doing everything possible to make sure that he controls the local government system. Now, if you say, okay, the Wike faction might be attempting to control the party structure in the state, that's the PDP's party structure in the state, but the governor now wants to control the local government structure by every means. Hence, it is alleged that his allies are now moving to a different party, the APP.
What surprised me is that our producer is displaying the pictures. You see politicians, together. It's as if they are just playing the entire Nigerian population. Wike appeared at the congresses, and Fubara couldn't even get a footing at the congresses that held in the state.
That is the fact. That is it. So you can see that's why those governors had to say that, because there's no way.
Can you see them?
A sitting governor will not have something to say about the structure, at least in the Nigerian context. In the Nigerian context, there's no way, because at least we've seen this play out. Some of the problems that happened in many states in this country before now had always been about the control of party structures in the state. And there's no way. And if a governor doesn't have control over the structure of the party in his state, then he's operating out of nothing. He's operating from nowhere. Because it is that party structure that you control that will give you the leverage to go ahead to even come out with policies. If you don't control the party, how will you not take the kind of bills to the state assembly? How the state assembly approve your budget and your nominees and your bills and everything? It don't happen.
Well, that takes me to the issue of party discipline mechanism. It does appear that the PDP lacks that will, to discipline its own erring, so to speak, members. Because here we see a minister, I'm referring to Wike now, who openly supported a different candidate for the governorship election of Edo State. He didn't hide his preferred candidate, and we can see what's also happening in reverse. Why is that absence of this, discipline mechanism within the political party, especially PDP.
It is also politics again. The inability of the PDP to maybe do something about what you just talked about, maybe to met out some kind of disciplinary measures against some area members, Wike or whoever might be. It might not just be only Wike. There could be other people too who have been, people have been talking about some other people across other states. But the fact that there has been no deterrent against anybody. The fact that hasn't happened is also politics.
But does it help the system?
It's also politics. But we know all the fights happening within the PDP. Because you remember even the issue of which Congress would the PDP at the national level recognize?
Exactly,
is it the Wike-led Congress or whichever one? But you know that
whichever one. I like that.
Exactly. That matter has never been tabled before all the relevant party organs. It's been postponed and postponed and postponed. And the issue of the tenure and the current status of the acting national chairman of the party is also an issue. You understand? So most people feel that Damagun is pro-Wike. And that's why he's been there. And there's also a battle between the PDP governors forum and also the pro-Wike group inside the PDP. So it's also about politics. It's about politics. And that also tells you a lot of things. That parties are not independent. We have discussed this before.
That's right.
Once parties in Nigeria depend on funding from several quarters, from money bags, from state governors, they will never be independent. And that was why at the time I advised that the best thing would be for parties to look inward, self-generate funds. Don't depend on anybody.
How can parties generate funds in a country like Nigeria?
They can if you have re-membership. I'm talking about re-membership based on ideological stand. People say, I want to join this party because I like them. You are a member, you pay your dues as at when due, depending on how they put it, whether it is monthly.
But do you know that Nigeria's political, members don't pay dues in Nigerian
That's what I'm saying.
parties?
You raise money, and then again, you also have people who will fund the party, industrialists who love what the party is doing. And they will, like currently I'm speaking that the campaign is going on around the US. How are they making? How are they getting funding?
You're right.
Different people are funding them from Nollywood, from industries, from every part of the celebrities. People are funding them. Legal funding, not the fund that you cannot account for. These funds are known. As they are trickling in, they are known by everyone that this money came from here. And even the source of the fund will also be traced to know whether even the person that funded you, whether the money itself is legal. So people can be funded. So we don't have to depend on state funding.
We have a long way to
the
go.
Parties.
On this one, we have a long way to go.
We have a very long way to go, because now it's about when you capture a state now, it means that if, for example, now, if a party wins this state, a particular state now, or if the party has many states that they have won, invariably, what it simply means that all those states will fund the party. And it means again that it is those people that fund the party that will dictate what the party does or will not do. So I think we have to start looking, because whatever is happening within our parties is because of funding. The parties cannot fund themselves. They depend on state money. If it is at the federal level, they depend on the federal treasury. You remember during the time of the Buhari era, after some few years after Buhari won the presidential election, there were a lot of problems within the APC. Where people were like, they don't understand this kind of president too. He's not even compensating anybody that even helps him to come to power in terms of appointments, in terms of releasing money to run the APC. And it was a very huge problem. I know a lot of people that left who were not happy that nothing was happening. Everything was dry. Even then, if you had ever gone through the APC's national secretariat there, or even gone inside, you will see everywhere dilapidated. And the problem was that, government is not releasing money for us to renovate. But how can government release money for you to renovate a party secretariat?
Exactly.
Under Buhari's regime. I don't know what happened at the end, whether they were able to put pressure on him to start playing ball. I don't understand. I don't know. But the fact was that when he began, he was not looking the party's way. It was expected that, because APC won, that they were diverting federal government money to fund the party. The PDP was in power for 16 years, and we know how it all played out. if you ever became anything in the PDP, either Board of Trustee, NEC, the National Executive Council or Committee, or the National Working Committee, you know that you are made for life. Where's the money coming from?
John, I've listened to many people who say the outcome of the recent governorship election of Edo State and the crisis going on in Rivers State, the political crisis going on in Rivers State, is, you know, a pointer to what may turn out to come out in 2027. Do you see it as a dress rehearsal of 2027 general elections?
Well, the outcome, what's going on in Rivers State, let's start from there, is about the control of the state
structure
of the state structure, and we're looking at, people have also said that yes, even 2027 is also part of the plan, because it is believed that Wike is a Tinubu's man, serving in Tinubu government.
Exactly.
And that Rivers State is very key.
It's very key
in terms of voting ability, in terms of also funding, because you need funds to run elections.
Yes.
You need funds to run elections too. And Rivers State is a cash cow for the country in terms of oil revenue.
Exactly.
It's a very risky, you know. So that could be also part of the problem. Then coming back to those states again, exactly. You know, in the last election,
yes,
it was the Labour Party that won Edo State at the presidential level.
Yeah.
And Edo State is also very key in terms of winning, because you know, because of what is happening in the country today, you know, in terms of the economic hardship, people are dissatisfied. They are not happy with the current situation, and invariably not happy with the party that is in power. So the parties too are also aware that if nothing is done, you know, to assuage the feelings of the people in terms of the kind of economic plans that they have and policies that they want to implement to cushion the effect of all the hard policies, you know, that maybe come 2027, they might lose the election. So they're also strategizing. So if they have now captured or they have now won Edo State, you know what it means. You know what it means.
Okay,
you know?
John, I know you as a strong proponent of strong institutions, and political parties are institutions. States are institutions. Who will be saddled with the responsibility to, you know, to give these institutions teeth to bite?
Yes, you know, it depends on how these institutions themselves evolve. If you look at the country, if you look at Nigeria generally, you know, Nigeria didn't evolve as self-reliant entities who have been on their own, running things on their own, then who now chose to become what we now became. You understand?
Yeah,
Nigeria came out as a colonial contraption, which came out primarily for the gains, for profitability for the colonialists. You understand?
Yeah.
So that is why we'll be having these problems. Look at the United States, for example. They began as colonies. 13 colonies, British colonies, even though being separated by thousands of kilometers of the ocean.
Yeah.
You see, when they began to agitate for independence, they knew what they were fighting for. You understand?
Yeah.
Because they had already been existing as entities, almost semi-autonomous entities, running their affairs by themselves. So when they began to agitate for independence from Britain, they knew what they wanted.
Yes.
They had already outlined their plans. So by the time, when the time now came for them to realize their plans, it was easy for them to say, we want this, and it stands. We want this, yes, stand. We want this. Nobody came to them and started saying, it must be this. Look at us. Is it the same way? It's not. If you look at the way we evolved, starting from even the Niger Coast Protectorate, Oyo Rivers Protectorate, the Protectorate of Southern Nigeria, the Northern Protectorate, the amalgamation of 1914, up till independence. You find out that all these things were contraptions of the British people. So you find out that the people who were here, we ask themselves, were we even willing? Some of the policies of British in terms of amalgamation, in terms of nationhood, was it actually the will of the people?
That's right.
Was it the will of the people desire this? You understand? Even though at the time, we began to yearn for independence through the nationalists. But the fact was that even that independence that we were yearning for via the nationalists, does it also reflect the will of the people?
The answer is no.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or
it can be no.
The answer can go anywhere.
It can go anywhere.
The fact I'm making here is
because
that
they were not consulted.
The nation did not evolve generically as a self-serving entities. Had it been that in our own native system that the British met us, when they came, they were already established entities. In the north, you had the caliphate, well established.
Well established.
In the south, you had
the feudal system.
In the south, you had a lot of city-states, well established.
Like republicans.
Yes, already established in different ways. You had the Benin Empire was flourishing. If you go to the deeper south, where we call the South today, you had the Opobo area, you have the Akasa area, you have the Boni area.
Well established.
These were already well established. If you go to the Shekiri area, they were already established as an entity. The Benis were established as entities. The Shekiris were entities. If you go deeper, you see all the different entities established as entities. If you come to the forest zones, the Yoruba land, they were established in Igbo land. They had different entities who were also
self-serving. We had our ways of life, we have our gods.
If you come to the North Central, you had the different kingdoms, the Kwara Rafa kingdom. All these people were entities that were already in place. If these entities had evolved generically and said, this is what we want.
This is what we want.
Then it would have been easy for us to look at the institutions, because these institutions are established, cast in stone. But you see, everything was together. Yes, we were put together, and the primary aim was for the benefit of the colonialists, not for the people here. Do you understand?
Yes.
So even when the people started to agitate nationalism, give us independence, the British people were like, what are these people talking about? What are they talking about? Exactly. So are they suddenly, okay, is it because we allowed your elites to cross over to Britain to be educated in Oxford? So we gave you guys a scholarship. You went to Lincoln to study. Now you are back. You are now wise. Yes. And then we allowed you also to join us to go to Second World War. To fight. And you saw us in our element. Then you are back now. You want to start agitating for freedom.
That was it.
You understand? So these are some of the issues. So nothing happens out of nothing.
As we went down,
yes,
John, would you say all this, back and forth and the challenges we've had in our geopolitics, would you say Nigerian politicians have ever learned any lesson moving forward?
No, but you see, politicians are not learning any lessons. Let me use our normal Nigerian language, because Nigeria, if you want to make emphasis, you have to add that kind of thing. They're not, so that's the fact, No, but in fact, as you are speaking now, there will be politicians are marking time, waiting to take their own turn. And the problem, the vicious circle continues. So something has to give in somewhere for us to stop this vicious circle, to put Nigeria, despite everything. We are not saying that simply because we didn't evolve generically, therefore we cannot get better. Nigeria is not the only country that the British people put together. India is there. India also, in fact, the colonial era in India was even longer than that of Nigeria. You understand? But when they got the independence, India today, despite their population, is doing very well in different aspects. You understand? So we will not say just because we are not put together based on our own volition, therefore we will not do good. We could do better. We have all the potential to do better. All we need is to have the right kind of leaders. We have the right kind of people.
Okay.
But we don't have the right kind of leaders. The type.
John Okoro, thanks for joining me on the Polity today.
Thank you.
Viewers, that's the size of our package today on the Polity. We hope you had a great time watching. I thank our numerous callers, even though you have tried to call in and the telephone lines have been epileptic. It's so discouraging and so disturbing. From me, Macauley, Hunohashi, on behalf of our producer Ruben Okala and the entire production crew, particularly our guys in the master control room, thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye.